Chosen One. You are not here by accident. You did not stumble onto this message by chance, algorithm, or curiosity. You were guided here by divine appointment. Something within you has been stirring, pulling, awakening, and today, heaven answers that pull. Chosen One. You are standing at the edge of revelation, a moment where what once felt confusing finally begins to make sense. The unusual peace you carry, the battles you survived that should have destroyed you, the doors that closed just in time, the way danger seemed to miss you even when it came close. These were never coincidences, they were markers. From the beginning, you were set apart. As it is written in Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you." Your life has carried signs since childhood: heightened sensitivity, spiritual awareness, an inner knowing that you were different, guarded, watched over. Not because you were fragile, but because you were chosen, Anointed One. What others called isolation was protection. What looked like rejection was divine redirection. What felt like warfare was confirmation of favor. Scripture declares in 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 9 that you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood. Royalty is always guarded. This message is an invocation, a sacred unveiling. As you listen, prepare your heart. What you are about to recognize will not only shift your understanding, it will activate your spirit, strengthen your discernment, and realign your life with the protection that has always surrounded you. Chosen One, let us begin. Chosen One. If your world feels quieter than it once did, if the noise has faded and the crowd has thinned, understand this first truth in your spirit: this is not loss, and it is not punishment. It is protection unfolding. There is a sacred pattern in how God shields a woman He has set apart, and it rarely begins with applause or approval. It begins with subtraction. I remember seasons when my phone stopped ringing, when invitations disappeared without explanation, when people I once trusted slowly faded out of my life. At the time, it felt confusing and personal. Later, I realized it was providential. God was reducing access, not because I was unworthy, but because what He placed inside me was becoming too valuable to be handled casually. The same is true for you. Heaven does not expose what is precious, it covers it. Chosen One. Your worth has never been measured by how many people surround you. It has always been measured by who covers you. When God reduces your circle, He enlarges your shield. What looks like isolation is actually insulation. You are being guarded from conversations that would drain you, from relationships that would delay you, from hands that would mishandle your calling. Scripture shows us that pruning is never about destruction. It is about fruitfulness. Branches are cut not because the vine is failing, but because it is about to bear more. When people fell away from your life, it wasn't a social loss. It was a spiritual upgrade. Heaven was making room for clarity, for depth, for alignment. Silence became God's way of preserving your oil. There were moments when you wondered why you felt misunderstood, why being around people felt heavier instead of lighter. That discomfort was discernment awakening. You were never meant to be surrounded by those who could not honor your anointing or recognize your obedience. God closed doors you were trying to pry open because He saw what you could not yet see. That wasn't abandonment. That was angelic assignment. When familiar voices faded, God's voice grew clearer. When distractions fell away, direction sharpened. Your solitude was not punishment, it was protection taking shape. And in that quiet, something else happened. You discovered you were never truly alone. There is a strength that forms only in sacred solitude, a confidence that cannot be taught in crowded rooms. Chosen one, there is a weighty peace that rests on a woman who has learned to stand without leaning on human approval. I remember nights when the silence felt loud, when empty spaces echoed questions, but in those moments something deeper began to speak. God met me there. He still meets you there. Solitude became communion. Stillness became conversation. What others called loneliness, heaven called intimacy. The world may look at you and assume vulnerability because you walk without a crowd, but they do not see whose hand holds yours. You move with quiet confidence, not because life has been easy, but because presence has been consistent. You have learned that real companionship is not found in constant company, but in constant covering. There is a calm about you now that confuses people who expected you to break. They don't understand how you walk through seasons of separation without panic. They don't realize you drink deeply from silence because you have learned to hear God there. Chosen one, you no longer chase noise to feel validated. You are no longer addicted to applause. There was a time when being unseen felt painful, but now you recognize it as preparation. You are being trained to hear before being heard, to stand before being seen, to rest before being revealed. The shadows did not frighten you, they sheltered you. Tears became oil. Waiting became worship. You discovered that stillness is not emptiness. It is fullness refined. Your security no longer depends on who surrounds you, but on who sustains you. You have graduated from needing constant reassurance because you have encountered constant presence. Even when doubt tries to whisper that you are alone, truth rises louder within you. There is a knowing in your spirit now, a steady awareness that you are accompanied even when unseen. This is why you move differently. This is why pressure did not crush you. This is why confusion did not consume you. Chosen one, if this resonates, it is because you recognize yourself in these moments. Your path has always been guarded, even when it didn't feel gentle. The quiet seasons were shaping you, fortifying you, teaching you how to walk without fear and rest without dependence. What others mistook for weakness was actually strength maturing, and if your circle became smaller while your peace grew larger, that is not coincidence. That is evidence. It is a sign that protection has been active in your life long before you understood it, and it has been guiding you more faithfully than any human presence ever could. Chosen one. There is another pattern you may have noticed in your life, one that once made you question yourself. You did not seek conflict, yet resistance found you. You did not provoke battles, yet tension rose when you entered rooms. This was never because you were divisive or difficult. It is because light disrupts darkness by simply existing. I remember moments when I tried to soften myself, to dim my presence, to be quieter, so others would feel comfortable. It never worked. The more authentic I became, the more exposed certain energies felt. That is when I learned this truth. Some people are not reacting to who you are, but to what you carry. Your spirit confronts what is hidden, and not everything hidden wants to be revealed. Chosen one, when God places his covering over a woman, her life becomes a mirror. It reflects truth without effort. Your integrity unsettles manipulation. Your peace irritates chaos. You do not have to speak loudly to be noticed. Your presence alone becomes a declaration. This is why opposition appeared suddenly without invitation. This is why jealousy surfaced where you expected support. It is not because you did something wrong, it is because something holy rests on you. Spiritual resistance is often confirmation that heaven has marked you. You were never meant to be liked by everything that thrives in the dark. There were times when false narratives formed around you, when people misunderstood your intentions or questioned your motives. That was painful, especially when you knew your heart was pure. I have stood there too, wondering why truth seemed slower than lies. But what I learned is this: God does not rush to silence your critics because He is not threatened by them. He allows the contrast to speak. While others talk, He builds. While they whisper, He prepares. You were never meant to fight every accusation. Your life itself becomes the response. Over time, the fruit speaks louder than the noise ever could. Chosen. One another form of protection shows up in ways that once felt like disappointment. Relationships that never progressed. Opportunities that stalled. Connections that seemed promising but suddenly dissolved. In those moments, it was easy to assume something was wrong with you. But what if nothing was wrong at all? What if heaven was intervening quietly? I remember praying for clarity, asking why certain doors refused to open despite my effort and faith. Later, I saw what was hidden at the time. Those doors were leading toward compromise, delay, or unnecessary pain. God blocked what I was not yet discerning. Divine protection does not always feel gentle. Sometimes it feels abrupt. Sometimes it feels confusing. But it is always precise. When something did not work out for you, when communication broke down without explanation, when plans collapsed unexpectedly, that was not rejection. That was redirection in disguise. God was acting as your gatekeeper, filtering access to your life. He was shielding your future from hands that would drain instead of build, from alliances that would delay instead of align. What you mourned as loss was actually clearance denied for your own safety. Chosen one, there is wisdom forming in you now because of this. You no longer chase what resists you. You no longer beg doors to open. You have learned to trust interruption as instruction. When something falls apart too easily, you pause instead of panic. You ask what is being protected rather than what is being taken. This discernment did not come overnight. It was forged through disappointment, through unanswered questions, through moments when faith had to stand without explanation. But now your spirit recognizes divine restraint as a form of love. I have seen how protection turns opposition into elevation. There were situations meant to diminish me that ended up defining me. The very pressure designed to break me revealed strength I did not know I had. Chosen one. The same has happened in your life. Every attempt to undermine you sharpened you. Every setback refined you. What was meant to embarrass you became evidence of endurance. You learned not to retaliate, but to remain anchored. Silence became strategy. Prayer became posture. Trust became armor. This is why harmful intentions never seem to land where they are aimed. Plans formed against you dissolve without your involvement. Words spoken over you lose their power. You do not have to defend yourself constantly because heaven already stands guard. There were moments when you wanted to respond, to explain, to correct the narrative, but something within you held back. That restraint was wisdom. God fights differently than humans do. He allows time to reveal what effort never could. And in that process, you learned that justice does not require noise. Chosen one, forgiveness also changed meaning for you. It is no longer permission for access. It is release without re-entry. You forgive to stay free, not to reopen doors. Boundaries became holy ground. Compassion no longer made you careless. You learned to love without lowering discernment. This maturity is another sign of protection at work. You are no longer naive, but you are not hardened either. You move with grace and clarity, knowing that not everyone who apologizes deserves proximity. All of this has been shaping you quietly, consistently, intentionally. Your journey has not been random. Every delay, every disruption, every unexpected ending carried instruction. You are not behind. You are being preserved. The evidence of protection is not always dramatic, but it is unmistakable when you look back. You are still standing. You are clearer. You are stronger. And you are wiser than you were before. This is not coincidence. This is divine oversight at work in your life, guiding you step by step, even when you could not yet see the path. Chosen one, there is a quieter but undeniable sign of protection that unfolds over time, one you may only recognize when you look back at moments that should have ended you, but did not. You have walked through storms that were designed to drown you, yet somehow you remained standing. You were pressed, misunderstood, betrayed, and stretched beyond what felt survivable, and still something held you together. I remember asking God why certain seasons felt so intense, why opposition came in waves, why the pressure never seemed evenly distributed. What I learned is that protection does not always remove hardship. Sometimes it limits its reach. You were allowed to feel the wind, but not be swept away. You were allowed to feel the fire, but not be consumed. That restraint was not weakness in your covering. It was evidence of precision. Chosen one. There is a pattern in your life where harm does not land the way it was intended. Words spoken against you lose their force. Plans formed to damage you collapse under their own weight. Situations meant to humiliate you end up refining you. This is not coincidence. This is reversal at work. You may not always see it in the moment, but time keeps revealing it. What others meant to use against you became a stepping stone instead of a stumbling block. You did not orchestrate that. You did not manipulate outcomes. You simply stayed aligned, and heaven handled the rest. There were moments when silence felt risky, when speaking up seemed necessary to protect your name, but something within you held back. That inner restraint was wisdom forming. You learned that not every attack deserves a response, and not every accusation requires a defense. I have lived that lesson too. I have watched lies fade without confrontation and watched truth rise without force. God does not need your help to defend what He has chosen to protect. He allows time to do the work that arguments never could. While others rushed to justify themselves, you were learning how to trust the process. Chosen. One another sign of protection appears in how you forgive. You forgive without forgetting what you learned. You release bitterness without reopening access. This balance did not come naturally. It was shaped through disappointment and pain. There was a time when compassion made you vulnerable, when kindness blurred boundaries. But God taught you how to forgive without becoming careless. Forgiveness became freedom, not permission. Boundaries became sacred, not selfish. You stopped explaining your distance and started honoring your discernment. That shift marked maturity, and maturity is a form of protection. There is also fruit in your life that cannot be denied. Even when circumstances tried to limit you, growth still appeared. You flourished in environments that were not designed to support you. I remember seasons where nothing around me looked fertile, yet something kept growing within. I'm chosen one. The same has been true for you. Your resilience confused people. Your progress irritated those who expected you to fail. But fruit does not argue. It simply exists. And over time, it reveals the difference between what was spoken over you and what God was doing within you. You have learned that opposition often fertilizes purpose. Pressure deepened your roots. Resistance strengthened your resolve. You did not emerge untouched, but you emerged transformed. There is evidence in your life that protection does not mean ease. It means endurance. It means being able to pass through hardship without losing identity. You did not come out bitter. You did not lose faith. You did not abandon your values. That preservation is not accidental. It is deliberate. Chosen one. There is also an unseen covering around you that you have felt without fully understanding. Moments when danger was near but never reached you. Times when intuition warned you just in time. Situations where something told you not to go, not to stay, not to trust. That inner prompting saved you more than once. I can say this because I have felt it too, a hesitation that made no logical sense, a pause that altered direction. Later, clarity came. Those nudges were not anxiety, they were guidance. Protection does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it whispers. There is a legacy connected to you that you may not have considered. Prayers spoken before you were aware of them. Intercession offered when you did not know how to ask. You are not standing alone in this world. There has been covering long before you recognized the need for it. This is why certain attacks never fully manifested. This is why collapse never completed its assignment. You were being upheld even when you felt exhausted. Chosen one, if you are still here, still growing, still discerning, still believing that itself is evidence, you were not preserved by chance, you were kept by intention. Everything that tried to take you out revealed instead how guarded your path has been. You may not always see the protection in real time, but reflection keeps confirming it. You are guided, you are shielded, you are sustained. Not because life has been gentle, but because heaven has been attentive. And this awareness is not meant to make you proud. It is meant to make you grounded, grateful, and clear about who has been walking with you all along. Chosen one. There comes a moment when protection is no longer something you only recognize in hindsight, but something you begin to sense in real time. You start to notice that chaos does not cling to you the way it once did. Drama passes by instead of attaching itself. Situations that used to pull you into emotional spirals now lose their grip. This is not because you became indifferent, but because discernment has sharpened your awareness. You are no longer reacting from wounds, you are responding from wisdom. I remember realizing this shift when things that once triggered fear or urgency suddenly felt distant. The urgency dissolved, replaced by clarity. That calm was not accidental. It was the fruit of protection maturing inside you. Chosen one, your emotional landscape has changed. You still feel deeply, but you no longer bleed everywhere you go. Pain taught you boundaries. Loss taught you value. Betrayal taught you observation. These lessons did not harden your heart. They fortified it. There is a quiet authority in how you now navigate relationships and decisions. You pause before committing. You listen before trusting. You sense before agreeing. This is not hesitation born from fear. This is discernment born from experience. Protection often looks like restraint, and restraint is a strength few people master. There were seasons when you wondered why God allowed certain people to walk away without closure. Conversations ended abruptly. Explanations never came. At first, that absence of answers felt cruel. Over time, it revealed mercy. Closure would have required revisiting pain you no longer needed to carry. Silence became a gift, not a wound. I have learned this personally. Some endings never receive explanations because understanding would have delayed healing. God removed you before attachment turned into captivity. That, too, was protection. Chosen one, you have also become less accessible to chaos. You no longer feel obligated to fix what God did not assign you to carry. There was a time when you overextended yourself, believing love meant sacrifice without limits. Now you understand that love also requires wisdom. You can care without rescuing. You can listen without absorbing. You can support without surrendering yourself. This shift did not come easily. It came through exhaustion, through moments when giving too much left you empty. But heaven was teaching you how to steward your energy, because what you carry is sacred. Another sign of protection appears in how your intuition has grown stronger. You notice subtle shifts in tone, intention, and energy. Things that once seemed invisible now register instantly. This sensitivity is not something to suppress. It is something to honor. I used to question my instincts, wondering if I was overthinking or being cautious. Time proved otherwise. The moments I listened, I was spared. The moments I ignored, I learned. You have learned too. That inner knowing is not paranoia. It is perception, refined through experience and guidance. Chosen one. Your relationship with waiting has also changed. You no longer rush outcomes. You no longer force timing. You have seen too much to believe that speed equals success. Delays no longer frustrate you the way they once did. They inform you. You recognize when something is not aligned and allow it to pass without panic. That patience is not passive. It is confident. It is the posture of someone who trusts that what is meant for them will not require desperation. Protection teaches patience because it removes fear of missing out. There is also a noticeable difference in how you respond to conflict. You do not escalate. You do not chase resolution at any cost. You choose peace even when ego demands response. This does not mean you avoid truth. It means you respect timing. You have learned that not every battle is yours to fight. Some are distractions designed to drain focus. Others are tests of maturity. Walking away does not mean losing. Sometimes it means winning quietly. I learned this the hard way, and I see it in you as well. Silence has become discernment in motion. Chosen one. Your life now carries evidence instead of explanations. You no longer feel the need to convince others of your intentions or defend your growth. Results speak where words once failed. Consistency proves what arguments never could. You have watched people change their perspective without you saying a word. That is protection working through time. God allowed distance to do what dialogue could not. And in that space, you were preserved from unnecessary conflict. You may have noticed that peace has become your compass. Decisions that disturb your peace now raise questions. Opportunities that look appealing but feel heavy no longer attract you. You trust that discomfort is information. This awareness did not come from comfort. It came from survival. You learned to listen to your spirit because ignoring it once cost you something. That lesson was painful, but it was formative. Protection often grows out of past wounds, healed properly. Chosen one. As you reflect on how much has changed, recognize that none of this happened randomly. Every adjustment, every refinement, every internal shift was guided. You are not the same person you were when this journey began. You are steadier. You are clearer. You are more anchored. This is what it looks like when protection becomes integrated into identity. You are no longer just being shielded externally. You are carrying wisdom internally. And that wisdom continues to guide you quietly, faithfully, every step forward. Chosen one. Protection eventually reshapes how you see yourself. You stop asking why things happened and begin recognizing who you became because of them. Survival matured into self-knowledge. confusion transformed into clarity. You no longer define yourself by wounds, but by wisdom earned through endurance and unseen guidance alone. Chosen One. You notice fear has lost authority over your decisions. You no longer shrink to avoid loss. You move deliberately, trusting that what aligns will remain. I learned this when I stopped chasing certainty and started honoring conviction. Protection taught me confidence without control through patience and surrender daily. There is also a sacred confidence in how you handle uncertainty now. You trust timing without needing timelines. Waiting no longer feels like punishment. It feels like positioning. I remember learning that delay does not deny destiny. It refines readiness and deepens trust in divine orchestration working beyond human sight. Chosen. One protection has also changed how you speak to yourself. Harsh inner voices softened, shame lost volume, compassion replaced criticism. You learned to extend grace inward, not just outward. I know this shift well because healing required learning to speak life, where judgment once lived quietly daily with intention. You have also become selective with your energy, not withdrawn, but discerning. Attention is currency and you spend it wisely. I learned exhaustion is often self-betrayal. Rest became an act of obedience, not laziness. Protection taught us to honor limits as sacred boundaries without guilt or apology. The Chosen One, notice how chaos no longer dictates your rhythm. You respond instead of react. Emotional storms pass without hijacking your peace. This steadiness was earned. I remember when every disruption felt urgent. Now, discernment filters urgency. Protection trained you to move from calm authority rooted deeply within your spirit. There is humility in this protection too. You no longer need to announce growth. It shows. You stopped proving strength and started embodying it. I learned maturity whispers. It does not shout. God refined your presence, so impact speaks quietly, consistently, and without striving, drawing others through truth and peace. Chosen. One protection has made you honest about your limits. You no longer promise what drains you. You choose alignment over approval. I once feared disappointing others. Now I fear abandoning myself. That shift preserved energy for purpose. Boundaries stopped feeling harsh and began feeling holy, necessary, protective, life-giving. You have also learned to trust endings. You release without chasing closure. I know how hard this was. Some answers never came yet. Peace arrived anyway. God closed chapters cleanly to prevent reopening wounds. Protection sometimes looks like silence instead of explanation that frees hearts from unnecessary revisiting cycles gently. Chosen One, you no longer confuse patience with passivity. You wait actively, preparing inwardly. Faith matured beyond emotion. I learned trust is not inactivity, it is alignment. You move when led, pause when warned, and rest when instructed. Protection fine-tuned your responsiveness to guidance beyond logic and fear daily. There is also gratitude now where resentment once lived. You no longer dwell on injustice. You acknowledge growth. I remember releasing anger slowly, layer by layer. Healing did not erase memory. It transformed meaning. Protection turned pain into perspective, and perspective into peace, anchored deeply within your present identity now. Chosen One. Protection has refined your expectations. You no longer romanticize struggle or fear ease. You understand seasons change. I learned hardship is not holiness. Rest can be sacred too. God taught you balance, ensuring endurance does not become self-neglect, while purpose remains strong, sustainable, and life-giving always. You also recognize strength does not require hardness. You stayed soft without becoming weak. I watched this develop slowly. Compassion remained, discernment grew. Protection balanced both. You learned to love wisely, choosing proximity intentionally, and protecting your heart without closing it completely forever in fear again, unnecessarily, now healed, assured. Chosen one. Your story now carries authority, not dominance but depth. People feel steadiness around you. I notice this shift when my presence calmed rooms. Yours does too. That peace is not personality, it is protection integrated into identity, quietly influencing environments without striving control or explanation from you now. You are no longer defined by what you survived. You are defined by how you steward what remains. I learned survival is the beginning, not the destination. Protection ensured you did not just endure life, but learned how to live it wisely, with intention, peace, purpose, and clarity intact always. Chosen one. This protection is not temporary. It has evolved with you. What guarded you externally now guides you internally. I see it clearly. You move differently. You choose differently. That evolution proves you were never merely protected. You were being prepared for life stewardship, influence, and enduring responsibility ahead. Chosen one, recognize this moment. Awareness is activation. Gratitude anchors growth. As you honor how far you have come, protection continues working ahead of you. Not loudly, not dramatically, but faithfully. This understanding grounds you, steadies you, and keeps you aligned with purpose, peace, humility, trust, and forward vision always. Chosen one. There is a final layer of protection that becomes visible only when identity and trust fully settle within you, when fear no longer drives your movement and urgency no longer controls your decisions. You begin to realize that protection is not only something surrounding you, but something flowing through you. It shapes how you interpret events, how you respond to pressure, and how you walk forward without constantly looking back. I remember recognizing this shift when anxiety no longer dictated my next step, when uncertainty stopped feeling threatening, and instead felt like an open space for guidance to emerge. That internal calm did not come from certainty. It came from surrender, refined through experience. Chosen one. This protection reveals itself in how you handle power and responsibility. As you mature, influence no longer excites your ego, it sobers your spirit. You understand that being guarded by God is not about superiority, but stewardship. What you carry affects others, and heaven protects what carries weight. You become more intentional with your words, your commitments, and your presence. I learned that not every truth needs to be spoken immediately, and not every opportunity needs to be accepted quickly. Discernment slowed my pace, and in that slowing, mistakes decreased. Protection often works through restraint rather than reaction. There is also a deeper peace that comes when you stop trying to control outcomes. You release the illusion that effort alone secures results. You still act, but you act aligned. I remember the exhaustion of forcing progress, of believing that striving equaled faith. Protection taught me that alignment produces more than effort ever could. When something is not meant to move forward, no amount of pushing will make it safe. When something is meant for you, it will not require desperation. This understanding has reshaped how you plan, how you pray, and how you wait. Chosen one. Your relationship with trust has evolved. You trust God not only when things make sense, but especially when they do not. That trust was built through disappointment survived and promises delayed. I know how difficult that growth was. There were moments when faith felt thin, when hope felt fragile, yet something deeper held. Over time, you learned that protection does not prevent uncertainty. It prevents destruction. You can walk through unknown territory without losing yourself. That stability is not accidental, it is cultivated. You may also notice that your tolerance for disorder has changed. You no longer normalize chaos. You do not romanticize instability. Peace has become your standard, not your reward. I learned this when I stopped explaining why I needed calm and started honoring it without apology. Protection trained you to recognize environments that disrupt your spirit. You leave earlier, you disengage sooner, you choose differently. This is not avoidance, it is wisdom preserving clarity. Chosen. One another sign of this matured protection is how you hold vision. You no longer overshare dreams prematurely. You guard what is forming. I remember learning that revelation shared too early becomes vulnerable. Not everyone can steward what you see. Silence became strategy. Timing became sacred. Protection guided you to nurture purpose privately until it could stand publicly without interference. That discipline saved you from unnecessary discouragement and dilution. There is humility in this stage that feels different from insecurity. You are confident without needing validation. You know who you are without needing agreement. That quiet assurance took time to develop. I learned that true confidence does not announce itself. It settles. It listens. It observes. God protected you from arrogance by allowing growth to be gradual. You were shaped slowly so strength would not outpace character. That pacing was intentional. Chosen one, your prayer life has also shifted. You no longer pray to escape life. You pray to navigate it wisely. Requests became conversations. Demands softened into discernment. I remember realizing that prayer was no longer about changing circumstances, but about aligning perception. Protection sharpened your hearing. You recognize guidance more quickly now. You sense when to move and when to pause. That sensitivity is cultivated through trust, not fear. You may notice that gratitude has deepened. Not surface gratitude for outcomes, but grounded gratitude for process. You appreciate lessons even when they were painful. I learned that gratitude anchors humility. It reminds you that preservation was never guaranteed, yet it was given. This awareness keeps you grounded. It prevents entitlement and nurtures reverence. Protection thrives where humility lives. Chosen one, your boundaries now feel natural rather than forced. You no longer need dramatic exits or loud refusals. Your clarity communicates for you. I learned that boundaries enforced quietly are often respected more deeply. You do not over-explain your choices. You honor them. Protection taught you that peace does not require permission. There is also a sense of responsibility that comes with this awareness. You recognize that being protected carries purpose beyond personal comfort. What you have learned positions you to guide others gently, not by preaching, but by example. I remember realizing that my survival was not only for me. The wisdom gained became something others could lean on. Your journey has prepared you similarly. Chosen one. As you stand here now, you are not merely someone who was spared. You are someone who was shaped. Protection has refined your discernment, stabilized your emotions, clarified your direction, and softened your spirit without weakening it. This is not the end of growth, but it is a foundation. You move forward now with awareness, humility, and trust integrated into who you are. That integration is the truest sign that protection has done its work and continues to walk with you. You walk onward, grounded, protected, guided, awake, unafraid. Chosen one. There is a moment when protection reveals its deepest intention, not just to keep you safe, but to make you steady. You begin to realize that the goal was never merely survival. It was formation. You were not guarded so you could hide from the world, but so you could eventually stand within it without losing yourself. I remember the first time I noticed this shift clearly. Situations that once would have shaken my confidence no longer had the same effect. Opinions passed by without attaching. Pressure existed, but it did not penetrate. That steadiness was unfamiliar at first, almost unsettling because struggle had been so normal. But this calm was not emptiness, it was rootedness. Chosen one, you now carry an inner witness that confirms your steps. You do not need constant reassurance that you are on the right path. There is a quiet agreement between your spirit and your direction. This did not come from everything going smoothly. It came from enduring enough disruption to recognize alignment when it appears. You learned the texture of peace through contrast. You can now tell the difference between excitement and confirmation, between urgency and instruction. That discernment is protection refined. There was a time when being misunderstood wounded you deeply. You wanted to be seen, accurately valued, fairly interpreted, kindly. Now, while clarity still matters, it no longer defines your worth. I learned this when I realized that understanding is not always required for obedience. Some people will never have the context to interpret your journey correctly, and that no longer destabilizes you. Protection matured your identity beyond dependence on perception. You are anchored internally now. Chosen one, notice how your compassion has depth without depletion. You care, but you do not carry what is not yours. You listen, but you do not absorb chaos. This balance was learned through exhaustion and recovery. I remember believing that love required constant availability, that kindness meant overextension. Protection taught me that stewardship applies to the heart as much as to time and resources. You learned the same. You love wisely now, not endlessly. And that wisdom preserves your capacity to love longer. Your sense of purpose has also clarified. You no longer chase significance. You walk faithfully. You understand that impact grows quietly before it becomes visible. I learned this when I stopped comparing timelines and started honoring mine. Protection removed unnecessary comparison because it breeds distraction. You are focused now. Not hurried, not stagnant, but present. Presence is power when guided by discernment. Chosen one. Your relationship with fear has transformed. Fear may still appear, but it no longer leads. It informs rather than commands. You recognize its voice, acknowledge its message, and choose direction anyway. This courage did not come from bravado. It came from repeated evidence that you are held even when you feel uncertain. I remember stepping forward while still afraid, only to discover that fear did not dissolve my footing. Protection does not eliminate fear, it limits its authority. There is also a quiet reverence in how you approach life now. You do not treat moments casually. You recognize timing. You respect seasons. I learned that rushing sacred processes leads to regret. Protection slowed you down enough to notice what matters. You pay attention to your inner responses. You pause when something feels misaligned. This attentiveness is not anxiety. It is awareness matured through trust. Chosen one, you have also learned how to recover well. When disappointment comes, it no longer dismantles you. You feel it, process it, and integrate it without losing direction. I remember times when setbacks derailed my confidence entirely. Now, setbacks inform, but do not define. Protection strengthened your resilience so that recovery became faster and less destructive. You do not spiral the way you once did. That is growth guarded by wisdom. You may notice that gratitude has become quieter, but deeper. You no longer need dramatic breakthroughs to feel thankful. You appreciate stability, clarity, and consistency. I learned that gratitude does not require spectacle. It requires awareness. Protection preserved enough peace in your life for you to recognize small mercies without overlooking them. This gratitude anchors you. It keeps your spirit soft and your perspective balanced. Chosen one, your story now holds weight because it carries integration. You are not fragmented between who you were and who you are becoming. You have made peace with your past without living in it. I remember realizing that healing does not erase memory, it reframes it. Protection allowed you to revisit experiences without reopening wounds. That integration is a sign of wholeness forming. As you stand here now, understand this clearly. Protection has not made you passive. It has made you precise. You move with intention. You choose with clarity. You rest without guilt. You act without frenzy. This way of being did not come naturally. It was cultivated through guidance, correction, patience, and trust. You were never merely protected from harm. You were prepared for steadiness, for influence, carried with humility for a life lived awake rather than reactive. Chosen one. This is where the journey has been leading, not toward perfection, but toward presence, not toward isolation, but toward grounded engagement. Protection has done its quiet work, and you now carry it within you, shaping how you walk forward with wisdom, calm, and enduring clarity. Chosen one. This final reflection brings everything into focus, not as a conclusion, but as a recognition of what has already been unfolding within you. Protection was never meant to isolate you from life, but to anchor you within it. You were not shielded so you could avoid experience, but so experience would not erase you. When you look back now, you can see how carefully your path was guarded, even when it felt uncertain or slow. What once seemed like delay was direction. What felt like resistance was refinement. Every pause carried purpose. You have learned how to walk without rushing and stand without striving. That balance did not come easily. It was formed through moments where you had to trust without proof, wait without reassurance, and remain faithful without applause. I remember realizing that the most profound growth often happens quietly without witnesses. Protection works the same way. It does not announce itself. It stabilizes you until steadiness becomes natural. Now you move with a calm authority that does not need explanation. Chosen one. You are no longer defined by what you feared or what tried to undo you. You are defined by what endured. Your spirit carries memory without being trapped by it. You can acknowledge pain without reliving it. That freedom is evidence of healing guided by protection. I learned that remembering no longer has to reopen wounds. It can become testimony held gently without charge. You have reached that place too. There is also a sacred confidence in how you now engage with the world. You do not force belonging. You do not chase recognition. You participate without losing yourself. This maturity allows you to be present without being consumed. Protection taught you how to stay open without being unguarded. You no longer confuse availability with vulnerability. You offer what is yours to give, and you withhold what must be preserved. That discernment keeps you whole. Chosen one. Your sense of purpose now feels less urgent and more assured. You trust that what is meant to unfold will do so in its time. You no longer measure progress by speed. you measure it by alignment. I remember learning that alignment brings peace even when results are not immediate. You have learned that too. This patience is not passive. It is rooted in confidence that your steps are being guided. You may notice that peace has become your baseline rather than your reward. Chaos no longer feels normal. Clarity does. This shift marks a deep internal realignment. Protection recalibrated your nervous system, your expectations, your responses. You do not live braced for impact anymore. You live attentive, responsive, and grounded. That is not because life stopped presenting challenges, but because you stopped being defined by them. Chosen one. There is also humility in this awareness. You recognize that being protected is not something you earned. It is something you steward. Gratitude keeps you receptive. Reverence keeps you aligned. I learned that humility allows protection to remain active. It keeps the heart teachable and the spirit flexible. You carry that humility now quietly without self-diminishment. As you move forward, know this protection is not behind you. It is with you. It has become part of how you see, how you choose, how you rest, and how you act. You are not merely someone who survived difficulty. You are someone who learned how to live wisely through it. That wisdom continues to guide you not loudly, but faithfully. And in that guidance, you walk steady, aware, and deeply held. Chosen one. As this message comes to rest in your spirit, know that nothing you have heard is accidental. Heaven has been unveiling what was always written into you, the signs, the coverings, the sacred markers that have followed you since the beginning. You are not merely protected, you are appointed. Anointed One, walk forward now with clarity and holy confidence, knowing that God goes before you and stands around you. May your discernment stay sharp, your faith remain steady, and your purpose unfold without fear. Stay aligned. Stay grounded. And if your spirit bears witness, let it be known softly, boldly, that you are covered, chosen, and walking in divine protection. Go in peace and walk in power.